Trump's sanctuary city laws dismissed in federal court. When it comes to the heated debate over immigration policies, few issues are as polarizing as so-called sanctuary cities. These jurisdictions, which limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement, have become a major flashpoint in national politics. And this is where it gets controversial. A recent court decision has struck a blow to the Trump administration's efforts to challenge these policies. On Friday, a federal judge dismissed the Department of Justice's lawsuit against Illinois, Cook County, and the city of Chicago, which sought to invalidate local laws branded as sanctuary policies. U.S. District Judge Lindsay C. Jenkins ruled that the Trump administration lacks standing to overturn state, city, and county measures designed to restrict collaboration with federal immigration authorities. In her decision, she emphasized that these sanctuary policies do not interfere with immigration and customs enforcement, ICE operations, or infringe on the contractual rights of individuals working with ICE. Here's what makes this ruling particularly noteworthy. Judge Jenkins not only dismissed the case entirely, but also clarified why the claims lacked legal merit. She stated that compelling local law enforcement to assist federal deportation efforts would be unconstitutional, as it would effectively allow the federal government to commandeer state resources, a practice explicitly prohibited by the 10th Amendment. This reasoning strikes at the heart of a broader ideological battle over states' rights versus federal authority. The lawsuit was initially filed in February, with the Trump administration alleging that Chicago's Welcoming City Ordinance and Illinois' Trust Act were deliberately crafted to obstruct federal immigration enforcement. The administration argued that these policies hindered communication between federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, thereby jeopardizing public safety. Named defendants included Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, the Cook County Board of Commissioners, and other key officials. Yet, despite these arguments, the judge found no basis for the lawsuit to proceed. Governor Pritzker, who may run for president in 2028, hailed the ruling as a victory for the rule of law. Illinois just beat the Trump administration in federal court, he tweeted. Their case challenging the Bipartisan Trust Act was dismissed. Unlike the president, we follow the law and listen to the courts. Meanwhile, Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke echoed this sentiment, emphasizing that forcing communities to adopt specific immigration policies undermines both local values and affects crime prevention strategies. She noted that fostering trust within communities is essential for encouraging victims and witnesses of crimes to come forward without fear of repercussions. But here's where opinions diverge sharply. While supporters of sanctuary policies celebrate the decision, critics argue that such measures endanger citizens. Following the ruling, White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson released a statement asserting that sanctuary cities like Chicago compromise public safety by interfering with federal immigration enforcement. The government, at all levels, has the duty to protect American citizens from harm. She said, "We look forward to ultimate vindication on the issue." This dismissal is just one piece of a larger legal puzzle. The Trump administration has aggressively targeted Democratic-leaning states and cities accused of obstructing federal immigration laws. For instance, on Thursday, the Justice Department filed a lawsuit against New York City, accusing its leaders of implementing sanctuary policies that allegedly impede immigration enforcement. That zoo followed an incident involving an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer who was ambushed and shot by undocumented immigrants with prior arrests. Similarly, Colorado and Los Angeles have faced lawsuits over comparable policies, while New York State was challenged earlier this year over its green light law, which permits undocumented immigrants to obtain driver's licenses. So, where does this leave us? Is the federal government overstepping its bounds by attempting to force local jurisdictions into compliance? Or are sanctuary cities prioritizing political agendas over public safety? These questions remain open for debate, and they're sure to spark strong reactions. What's your take? Do you believe sanctuary policies help build safer communities, or do they undermine national security? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Federal judge dismisses Trump lawsuit against Chicago sanctuary laws. What you need to know. Imagine a city where the local police and federal immigration agents are not allowed to cooperate fully, sparking a heated debate about immigration laws and public safety. This is the reality in Chicago, a city that has been at the forefront of the sanctuary city movement for decades. But here's where it gets controversial. The Trump administration recently filed a lawsuit against Chicago's sanctuary laws, only to have it dismissed by a federal judge in Illinois. The lawsuit, filed in February, alleged that Chicago's sanctuary laws thwart federal efforts to enforce immigration laws, and that local laws run counter to federal laws by restricting the sharing of immigration information with federal law enforcement officials. However, Judge Lindsey Jenkins of the Northern District of Illinois granted the defendants' motion for dismissal, stating that the individual defendants are dismissed because the United States lacks standing to sue them with respect to the sanctuary policies. This ruling has significant implications for the ongoing debate about immigration enforcement and the role of local governments in cooperating with federal authorities. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson welcomed the decision, saying that the city is safer when police focus on the needs of Chicagoans, and that the ruling affirms the lawfulness of Chicago's welcoming city ordinance. Similarly, Governor J.B. Pritzker celebrated the ruling, saying that Illinois has beaten the Trump administration in federal court. But what does this mean for the future of immigration enforcement in the United States? The Trump administration has filed a series of lawsuits targeting state or city policies seen as interfering with immigration enforcement, including those in Los Angeles, New York City, Denver, and Rochester, New York. Heavily Democratic Chicago has been a sanctuary city for decades and has strengthened its laws several times, including during President Donald Trump's first term in 2017. The term sanctuary city generally describes limits on local cooperation with immigration and customs enforcement, which enforces U.S. immigration laws nationwide, but sometimes seeks state and local help. And this is the part most people miss. There is no official definition for sanctuary policies or sanctuary cities, leaving room for interpretation and controversy. As the debate continues, one thing is clear. The Trump administration's efforts to disrupt sanctuary laws have sparked a national conversation about immigration, public safety, and the role of local governments in enforcing federal laws. But here's the question. Do you think sanctuary cities are a threat to public safety? Or do they provide a necessary safe haven for immigrants and refugees? We want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. The dismissal of the lawsuit against Chicago's sanctuary laws is just the beginning of a long and complex discussion about the future of immigration enforcement in the United States. As we move forward, it's essential to consider the perspectives of all stakeholders, including local governments, federal authorities, and the communities affected by these policies. By engaging in an open and respectful dialogue, we can work towards finding solutions that balance public safety with the need to protect the rights and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their immigration status. Trump's DOJ loses big. Chicago's sanctuary policies triumph in federal court. Imagine a world where local governments are pitted against federal authorities over the very principles of justice and community safety. That's precisely what's happening in the heart of America, where the Trump administration's relentless pursuit of cracking down on illegal immigration has met a significant setback. In a landmark ruling that could set a precedent for similar cases nationwide, a federal judge in Chicago has dismissed a lawsuit filed by the Trump Department of Justice, DOJ, against Chicago's sanctuary city policies. But here's where it gets controversial. The judge, a recent appointee of President Biden, ruled that Chicago's ordinances, which limit cooperation between local police and federal immigration authorities, are lawful protections that federal mandates cannot enforce. This decision is a blow to the Trump administration's efforts to enforce mass deportations and highlights the complex and contentious issue of sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities, like Chicago, are places where local officials limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement, creating a safe haven for undocumented immigrants. The Trump administration, however, has long argued that these policies make cities a haven for criminal illegal immigrants and contribute to increased crime. They claimed that such laws violate the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause, which states that federal law preempts conflicting state and local laws. Yet, in a bold move, Judge Lindsay Jenkins of the Northern District of Illinois dismissed the Trump DOJ's lawsuit, arguing that states retain significant powers not explicitly granted to the federal government. Jenkins wrote, finding that these same policy provisions constitute discrimination or impermissible regulation would provide an end run around the 10th Amendment, allowing the federal government to commandeer states under the guise of intergovernmental immunity, the exact type of direct regulation of states barred by the 10th Amendment. This ruling is not just a victory for Chicago, but a significant setback for the Trump administration's immigration policies. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson celebrated the decision, stating, "This ruling affirms what we have long known, that Chicago's welcoming city ordinance is lawful and supports public safety. The city cannot be compelled to cooperate with the Trump administration's reckless and inhumane immigration agenda." While this ruling is a blow to the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, it's far from the end of the story. The administration has sued several other jurisdictions over their sanctuary policies, including New York City and several cities in New Jersey and Los Angeles. Attorney General Pam Bondi defended these lawsuits, saying, if New York's leaders won't step up to protect their citizens, we will. As the debate over sanctuary cities continues, one thing is clear. This issue is far from settled. It's a complex and contentious topic that sparks passionate opinions on both sides. What do you think? Should sanctuary cities be allowed to limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities, or should the federal government have the power to enforce its immigration policies nationwide? Share your thoughts in the comments below.